This conference will now be recorded.
So, welcome to the demo session for performance testing using LoadRunner. And let's begin with some browsing into a website, and discussing. So, generally, before explaining about what is performance testing all about, I would like to give a difference, give some differences between manual testing or the functional testing with the performance testing. So here, considering this particular website, for example, if I ask a manual tester to check whether uh, if he is able to log in successfully or not. So what the manual tester generally does is that he actually enters some username and password over here, okay, and he clicks on that login button and he verifies whether this particular user has successfully logged in or not. So that's the main work of that functional tester. That's what a functional tester do. How is it different from a performance tester? See, the performance tester is not interested in knowing how this functionality is working, and he's not interested in understanding whether user is able to log in successfully or not. That's not his main criteria. The main criteria of a performance tester is how quickly is able to navigate, how fast is able to navigate with a given load. Okay, that's where the performance tester is more interested. Okay, sorry. Okay, so but uh, for a performance tester, how would he generally calculate the response times? How would he know how much time the page has taken to navigate from one page to another page, or from one link to another link, or to understand all that, or to calculate all that, we need some tool, right? We need some script, or we need some tool to calculate how fast this application is behaving, how fast the page is loading, right? So in order to capture all those metrics, we need some tool, right? So that particular tool here is LoadRunner. In fact, we have so many tools in the market along with LoadRunner, like Jmeter, NeoLoad, and other tools. But LoadRunner, has the highest share in the market, when compared to other tools. It's because it supports so many protocols. Okay, it supports so many protocols, and it supports all technologies like Java, .NET, mainframes, okay, SAP, everything, Citrix systems, everything, web services as well. So now, what we'll do is we'll launch one component called Vusion, which is a part of a LoadRunner tool, and we'll see how to capture those response times. For example, I want to capture the response time for login functionality, like user has to enter some username and password and click on login button, and I want to capture how much time it is taking for login to happen using Vusion tool, which is one of the component of LoadRunner. Okay, so we'll do that practically, and we'll see how do we calculate. I'm just closing this browser again. Okay, I'm just launching this Vusion tool. Okay, this is Vusion component. Once you launch the Vusion, okay, you can go to the search bar, and you can say search Vusion. You'll get this virtual user generator, which is one of the component of LoadRunner, as we discussed. So when you launch it, this is how the home page displays. Okay, now go to file and click on new. Okay, whenever you want to test a web application, generally you select this web HTTP HTML protocol. Okay, that's what I said. LoadRunner supports various protocols, right? All these are different protocols that LoadRunner supports. So 95 more than 90% of our applications are web applications. So for all those web applications, we use this web HTTP HTML protocol. Okay, we give some name here. So we'll save it somewhere, or just a second. Let's save it here only. I'll just say demo underscore AP. I'm creating one new script which will, it's loading. Okay, so once you create the script, this is how the UI looks. Okay, on the right hand side, it's a code editor where we record the code. Okay, where we record the code and we edit and we do some, where we tweak something to the existing code. Okay, on the left hand side is the solution explorer, which we'll discuss in detail in our regular sessions. Okay, but for now, as I said, we will record some functionality, like login functionality of a particular website. The website which I have just shown you, is a sample website given by the Micro Focus team only. So that particular website only will record. So I just clicked on the record icon over here. Before that, just quickly launch this. Okay. Okay. So this is a record button over here. Okay. So in this particular Vision UI, we have a record icon, okay, which we use for recording. And then here we have different options in this particular pop-up window. Okay. So the first option is it is asking us in which page you want to record. So we'll discuss this in detail in our regular sessions. And next, it is asking on which browser you want to record. Okay, whether it is Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Firefox. So it supports multiple browsers, right? So you can choose the browser based on your requirement. If some of the application supports Chrome only, some of the application supports only IE. It depends on the application, what type of application you are testing, and who will tell us, which browser it supports and all. Is that the application team, the development team will tell us, will provide us that information. So for time being, I'm selecting this Microsoft Internet Explorer, and this is the URL for the application. Okay, this is the URL for the application, and then click on Start Recording. Give these three to four options here for time being, and click on Start Recording. And as soon as you click on Start Recording, you could see a movable window here. See, you could see a movable window here. Okay, and this is very important for recording perspective. So all the recording what we do, all the transaction names what we give and everything, will use this particular pop-up window. So before starting recording, I just told you that I wanted to capture the response time of the login. Like, I wanted to know how much time the login is taking. So for that purpose, I'll just create a transaction. However, we'll discuss this again in detail in our regular session. But for time being, I'm just starting a transaction, and I'm naming it as login. Okay, I'm naming it as login. So, and if you also see the recording events, it's increasing. The number keeps on increasing. So what does that mean is that your application, this particular LoadRunner tool, this Fusion tool, is able to read or capture the traffic of your application. So the number should keep on increasing. If the number here, okay, so if the number here, if it's not increasing, then that means there is some problem with your application and your Fusion tool. They both are not able to, they're not able to sync. So when this particular number keeps on increasing, whenever you perform some action over here on the application, that means this particular Fusion tool is able to record it. Okay. So now I have given some name for the transaction and I clicked on OK. And then I'm giving username and password here in the application. Username is Jojo and password I entered. And then I clicked on login. Okay. Now when I click on login, I'm able to see the home page. Okay. I'm able to see the home page. Now I'm ending the transaction because what is the transaction that I want to, for which I want to capture the response time is login, right? So I just clicked on login. I navigated to home page. Now I wanted to stop the transaction. I want to end the transaction because for this particular transaction only, I want to capture the response time. Okay. Now I'll stop the recording here. Now I'll stop the recording here. And this particular Vuegen will generate us some script. I told you, right, in order to capture some, in order to calculate the response time, in order to calculate how much time it is taking, we need some script or we need some tool. Okay, if we cannot do it manually, we can do it manually for one user. Now, I can launch the browser and I can see how much time it is taking for one user. But in real time, the performance testing is done with, with hundreds or thousands of users, right? So for all those users, I cannot calculate the response time or, manually. So for that purpose, we need some script and some tool support. So that's where the LoadRunner is, will come into picture. This is the script which got generated. Okay, and this particular tool, whatever it is whatever we are recording here, uh, uh, it supports two languages, C and JavaScript. Okay, basically 99% of the projects they use C language because it is most preferred and it's easy to tweak. See, we don't need to write explicit code, complete code and all like how the other developers do or something like that. We just need to tweak the recorded code. Some code is recorded here, we just need to tweak it. Okay, so that we'll see how to tweak it, what are the changes that we have to do in our regular sessions. So for time being, I just recorded that login part and I'm just deleting some unwanted code here, so which we'll discuss in our regular sessions as well. So deleting this. Okay. Okay. So this is the code which got generated. And if you remember, I have given some transaction name while recording. So this is the transaction name login. It started here at line number 18 and it ended here at line number 37. Okay. So whatever is there between that, is for login. Whatever the code that is there between start transaction and end transaction is for login. Now this particular start transaction and end transaction, okay, will capture the response time for us. Okay, so when this request goes to server, when this particular request goes to server and the response comes back, what is the time it has taken for the response? That particular time it will capture and it will show us for in the results. Okay, so for this, just a second. Now the code is ready. Okay, the code is ready. Now just we have to rerun the code. Now we have to run the code so that this particular code will get executed and we'll be able to see what is the response time for it. Okay, let's do some changes here so that we'll be able to see. Okay, now okay, so now I'm going to execute the same code. I'm going to execute the same code, which will here there is a run button over here. Now whatever we did, that is only for login. Okay, we just launched the URL and just we logged in and we closed it. That's it. See, it launched the website, and then it entered username and password, and then it and then it navigated to home page, and then it closed it. Now see, if you see here, saying login has taken 0.33 seconds. Here, if you see in the result, saying login has taken 0.332 seconds. Now here also you can see the same in the code. Here it will generate the some transactions, some logs here. Here also if you see login transaction ended with the pass status. Okay, and the time taken is duration is 0.3325 seconds. Okay, ignore this wasted time. Ignore this wasted time. You can ignore this wasted time. This is not. This is generally used by this Vuegen tool internally for calculating this duration time. It needs some time. It needs some time to process the transaction, right? That process time is wasted time here. So we can ignore this wasted time, and we can count this as the response time for login. That means whenever you entered username and password and you clicked on login, it took 0.3325 seconds to navigate to home page. That's what it means. Okay, now you might get a question like how many seconds is the max value? No, is there any SLA in the industry, like, you know, it has to be less than these many seconds? Yes, most of the projects, almost 90-95% of the projects, the SLA for any web application, okay, if you want to navigate from one page to another page, the SLA, it should navigate within less than 2 seconds. Within 2 seconds, it has to navigate. If it is taking more than 2 seconds, then probably there might be some issue which you have to check with your developer. Some of the projects, you know, they set the SLA as 3 or 5 seconds as well, but it is project specific. But generally it is less than 2 seconds. If it is less than 2 seconds, you can say that, you know, your application or that particular URL is real quick and it is working as expected. Okay, and if it is taking more than 2 seconds, okay, then you can say, you can report it to your development team. You can provide your observation that, you know, it is taking more than 2 seconds, and you can you know, you can analyze on what could be the issue and all. You have to check. So this is how this LoadRunner tool works. Okay, so this is just a small example I have given. Okay, this is just a small example, and it will clearly give us all the transaction details. Okay, you can calculate the response time for logout as well, login. For example, if it's a bank application, there might be different functionalities, like, you know, one user might download a bank statement, one user might make some payments, one user might you know, check the balance. So how much time it is taking for performing all these activities, we have to calculate. If it is a bank application, if it is an e-commerce application like Amazon, you know, we have to calculate like how fast the products are loading. Okay, how fast the payment is done. Okay, so we have to check all these things if it's e-commerce application. It depends on the domain, but overall industry standard, every page has to navigate within less than 2 seconds. If in some projects it is 3 to 5 seconds. It depends on your project. So this is the code, and there is nothing not much stuff to learn this tool. Just we have to record whatever the functionality we want to analyze. We have to record that particular functionality, and then we have to tweak a little bit. So this is what this particular Vusion is all about on a high level, very high level. Okay, but there is a lot to learn, and there are so many concepts. Okay, which we have showed here within this particular course. There are so many concepts, and also quickly I'll tell you the architecture as well. And, you know, architecture in the sense, what are the different components that will come as part of LoadRunner. See, LoadRunner has so many components. Okay, so we'll discuss that in quickly now, and we'll arrive the architecture will out of some questions. For example, if there is some, you know, bank website, and generally any bank would open around, you know, 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Let's assume at 10 a.m. 100 people are accessing the bank account at a time. 100 people are accessing the bank website at a time. So here, if I want to test that particular bank application, now I cannot make 100 people to sit in one floor or from some different locations, and I cannot assign them 100 machines, and I cannot ask them to log in at a time to test my bank application performance, right? I cannot do that manually. It is impossible. Okay, so for that purpose, we need some component. Okay, we need some component which will generate those users for us, or which will simulate those users for us, real-time users for us. That component is called load generator. Okay, that component called load generator. What this component do is that it will generate or simulate the real-time users for us. Okay, we can simulate all those 100 users, and we can make them ready to log in at a time. Okay, that's what this component does. And after all these 100 users, they access the bank application, they perform some activities, right? Some, as I told you, some of them download a bank statement, Some of them check their savings bank account, check balance. Some of them make some payments. Some of them apply a loan. Some of them pay credit card bills and all. So all that is different functionality. So we have to record all such functionalities, right? So what is the tool that is used for recording all such functionalities? That is Vusion, which we have discussed just now. So I have shown some example, right? How to log in, how to calculate response time and all, how to record and all. That is Vusion, virtual user generator. So this component is used for recording the functionalities, recording the scripts. Okay, like I've given some examples, right? And then once after recording, you need to run all those scripts at a time. You need to run all those scripts at a time. For example, as I said, 100 users are accessing a bank application. All those 100 users might not download statement at a time, or all those 100 users might not pay credit card bill at a time. So some of them do something else, and some people do something else, right? So for example, 10 people are downloading bank statement, 10 people are paying credit card bill, 10 people are checking balance. Okay, so now to check to run these scripts, okay, to run these scripts which we have just recorded, we need some tool. Okay, we need some tool. That component is called controller or performance center. So using this performance center, we will run all the scripts with the given load with the users. Okay, for example, we have to give some users, for example, 10 people are downloading statement and 10 people are checking balance, like that. So all the numbers we have to give in those settings, and then we have to trigger the execution. That particular component, okay, which is used for triggering the execution, is called performance center or controller. And while execution, this particular performance center will dump all the results into some location. Okay, so even when it starts, when it keeps on executing, it will also dump all the results, whether it is pass or fail or whatever it could be. It will store all the results into some location, and we need some component which can be used to analyze the results. So that particular component is called analysis. This component is used for analyzing the results. It can help us in generating so many graphs, various metrics, okay, which we have to provide it to the application team and let them know that this is the issue, or this particular transaction or this particular functionality can do better. So all our observations we can do, but we need to have some information. We need to have some metrics, right? So those metrics we can get it from this analysis component. This is a very good tool. This will give us various graphs, and it will give us a clear picture on how the application is performing. So all these particular components together, we say it as a LoadRunner tool. It comes as part of this, including all these components. Load generator is for generating the users, simulating real-time users. Vusion is for recording scripts or recording the functionality, and then PC controller is for execution, and then for analysis component is for analyzing the results and providing our observations to the client. Okay, and while execution, as I told you that it is used for execution, and we'll execute using 100 users, 200 users, or 300 users. Now you might get a question like, who will give that number? For example, if I want to test the downloading bank statement functionality with 50 users, so who is giving that 50 number to us? That is given by application team or the development team only. They give based on some criteria, which we will discuss in detail in our regular sessions. But on a high level, this is all about the architecture of a LoadRunner tool. So you can post any questions if you have now.